All right, who's ready to learn about the HRSR04 sonar module? This little sucker's great. It looks like it's eyes, and it kind of is. It's a rangefinder. So it tells you how far away something is in front of it, and it does it by sending sound out of this guy and receiving it in this guy. So this is a transmitter speaker, and this is a microphone. It's got 4 pins, VCC, which is the positive voltage, plus 5 volts. Don't put plus 9 unless you want to see things burn. Ground, which is your 0 volts, and then it's got a trigger and echo pin. Trigger, if you put it up for, if you give it a plus 5 volts for 10 nanoseconds, or sorry, 10 microseconds, it will send out a bunch of pulses, and then it'll go positive on the echo output until it gets those pulses back. So let's look at a little diagram of that. So here's kind of how it works. So if we use digital write to make our trigger pin, this guy right here, it says trig. If we make that go positive, if we make it go high for 10 microseconds and then make it go back down to low, then it'll send out little 40 kilohertz pulses, and then it'll start to go high. It'll go positive on the echo pin. So if you see a little echo pin there, it'll go positive on that until it receives the echo. And then from that, we'll be able to figure out, depending on how long it was high for, how long it was plus 5 volts for, we'll be able to tell how far away the thing in front of it is. So let's figure it out. So I got all the things kind of initialized. You just pretty much put a line after every comment. So in here, we want to initialize to define the Arduino pin connected to the trigger pin of your sensor. So we can use either define or const int. So I like using define because it uses less memory, but same thing. So we could say, call it trig, and then it's pin 5 or 6 or something. Double check to see what pin is connected to the trig pin on this, and whatever pin of the Arduino is connected to that, define it as that. Let's say it's 6, trigger pin is 6, whatever. And then we want to define the Arduino pin connected to the echo pin. You might want to use define both times. I'm going to use constant int. I'll be weird. I'll switch it up just so you can see their equivalent. So let's say it's 6 and 5. This is a preprocessor directive. So before it compiles, it just goes through it and everywhere it sees trig, it changes it to a 6, so it doesn't actually take up any space on the Arduino. It just makes your code look good. This actually sets some space aside on the Arduino to hold this variable. So slightly less efficient. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Whatever, we got trig and echo. Actually, I'll leave that there. And then use pin mode, set your trigger pin to an output, because we gotta put that high and low, and we'll set our echo pin to an input. Hopefully you remember your pin modes pretty well. And then we start talking to our computer, serial.begin. Look it up if you don't remember. And then we want to digital write the trigger pin low so we can make our little pulse here. So all this junk right here is all like we're setting the trigger pin low, and then we put it high, and then we wait 10 microseconds, and then we put it low. So all of that, it's kind of a lot of lines of code, but all we're doing right there, oops, sorry, not that. We're just trying to do this. We're trying to make this 10 microsecond pulse. So the sonar thing sends its little pulses and goes high until it receives it. So all that junk there is just so we send a pulse to the trigger saying, hey, send your little sound pulses, and go high until the pulses come back and you hear them in the speaker. So let's go to this. So digital, right, the trigger pin low, so hopefully you can handle that. All right. So we're turning it low, 0 volts, and then delay 2 microseconds, which I already put there, so you don't have to do anything. Just you haven't seen delay microseconds before, so I put it in there. And then we want to set the trigger pin high, so exactly the same, but high. I'll delete that. You don't need that. You can figure that out. And then we got to wait 10 microseconds, which hopefully you can figure out having seen this up above. So then it stays high for 10 microseconds, and then we put it low again. And then we have our little 10 microsecond pulse, and then our sonar guy will do its thing. And then we want to make our duration variable equal to the result of a command called pulse in. We already said duration, so we can just do duration. That was set up top here. It's all long. So that's just going to be the duration of time it took for the pulse to go to the object and back. So we will use pulse in, look it up. Basically, it's going to go high, so whatever. If you're watching this video, I'll throw it there for a sec. Pulse in, echo high. So all that does there is on the echo pin, it kind of counts the time that it was high for, and I believe it counts them in microseconds. So duration will end up holding the time the echo pin was high for. So however long it did this for in microseconds. All right, heading back. I'm going to delete that just for people just skimming through the video. And then we got to figure out our distance. So, I threw that in. I don't think I put that for you. Anyway, so you're just making your distance, whatever. I'll show you. So distance is equal to our little calculation here. Here's the speed of sound in centimeters per microsecond. And if we multiply that by our duration, we get the total distance there and back. Because it took this long for the sound to go there and back, and this is how fast it goes. If you're a future physics person, distance equals velocity times time. If you go 5 meters per second for 2 seconds, you've gone 10 meters. Same kind of idea, except here we got centimeters per microsecond. Divided by 2 is because it's going there and back. We want the distance just there, distance to the object, so we divide it by 2. Because it takes time to go there and reflect back. And then we're printing the distance on the serial monitor. Nice and easy, serial.println the distance. And that's it. That is the whole circuit, or the whole code. Hopefully you found it not too bad. If you're interested in more information, you can always look this up. I just looked up the HC SR04, so you can figure out how it actually works and know what you're doing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Keep subscribing.